So welcome to our weekly webinar. We do these usually on Thursdays, but the marketing department has moved it up this week to Wednesday. But we'll be resuming the regular Thursday schedule from next week onwards. The topic of the webinar, it varies each week, but it's very much a variation on a theme, and that theme is who is SOS, who is a typical SOS partner, and what's involved in becoming an SOS partner. So to that end, we'll talk a little bit about the company's history, but we'll focus mainly on the online backup industry, the SOS technology stack, and the SOS partner program. We'll have a Q&A at the end of the webinar. That we'll also announce the details of the Kindle giveaway at the end of the webinar. But the best way to do Q&A and the best way for all of you to get the most out of this webinar is to ask me questions starting right now. So I can see a few of you have already used the Q&A tool to confirm that the AV is working, which is great. I'd really love it if you started asking questions or letting me know what topics you would like to hear about. Just to help me focus the message, can you just let me know what sort of customer are you? Are you a prospective partner? Are you an existing partner? Are you perhaps just a business user? So if you can give me a sense of, if I can get a sense of the members of the audience and how the audience is made up, that'll help me hone the message a little. So just use the GoToWebinar questions tool for that. And Kindle we'll be doing at the end. Okay, we've covered that. So it's enough housekeeping. Let's dive in. Just brief background on SOS. We've been around 10 years now, always focused on online backup and cloud-based backup. It's been called various things over the years. These days, it's cloud backup or online backup, remote backup, offsite backup. One of the most important things to know about SOS is really two things that sets us apart in the market. One is our focus on technology leadership. So we've always tried to, and generally been successful at, leading the industry for online backup, particularly for consumers, what we call prosumers or high-end consumers, and small businesses. That's really our core focus. We've got some enterprise solutions and we've got some enterprise customers, but our real focus and strong sweet spot, if you will, is in the consumer, prosumer, and small business space. The second thing that sets SOS apart is really our focus on the channel. So of the major online backup companies, we're the only one who is channel focused. More than 80% of our revenue comes through our partners. If you go back to 2006, there were 3 online backup companies that sort of splashed onto the scene: Mozy, Carbonite, and SOS. And with that order in terms of size, Mozy obviously now being part of EMC is very large, but is very focused on just consumers and their own brand. Carbonite, again, very heavily consumer focused. Neither of them have strong channel programs. Contrast that with SOS. We are nearly exclusively through the channel. We have 1,000 partners around the world. We have 400 white labeled partners, so people using our software but having it fully skinned for their company and their brand. And that's really what we do best. We've got 150 employees worldwide, more than 3 million accounts on our backup grid. So it's a very scalable system, a well-proven system. And we're growing very, very quickly. So tripled in size since 2009. And that's really, it's not a comment on SOS, it's a comment on our partners. We only grow if you are successful. So our whole goal in life is to make sure that your entry into the online backup market is successful. Got 4 people who've given me a bit of a background on who they are and where they fit. We've got 3 prospective partners. Great. And so anybody else on the line, please feel free to let me know where you're at and what your background is, whether you're an existing partner or a prospective partner. I'll try and make sure I'm addressing your specific questions. I think I've covered most of this. This is just a little company history, and all of this presentation will be made available to you. You'll get an email with a link to a video, so feel free to look into all this. It's, of course, all on our website as well, but in the interest of time, I'll skip over that. Actually covered this in my introduction, but where we sit is really that prosumer and small business space, but we attack that market through our partners, through you, for those of you who are already partners on the line and for prospective partners. We do have enterprise customers and we do have a lot of home user customers, but really our product, our pricing, and our support and service is perfectly aligned in the small business space, and I think we can confidently say that we're the market leader in the SMB space. So this slide really captures what it is that we do and what we're talking about today. We take everything SOS does, from software to know-how to marketing expertise. We then run it through a filter of your business and your products and your services to come up with SKUs and bundles that make sense for you and your business. So we've got a computer store on the line, we've got a web designer on the line, we've got an IT consulting firm on the line, we've got another web design firm on the line. All of those businesses are very, very typical types of partners of ours. And so we work with you to then figure out how online backup would be situated among your products and services, come up with different bundles, come up with marketing strategies, and help you launch a branded online backup solution. The goal, of course, is to help you drive additional revenue, and that revenue is usually at very high margins, and it's a recurring revenue base from selling backup as a managed service, primarily to small businesses. On the screen here, we've got a few examples of the types of white labeling that we do, and we're going to see a lot more of that later in the presentation. We've got a few questions here. Just comments. So we've got Tommy, who's looking to drive incremental revenue. David already provides enterprise data solutions and is interested in adding online backup. John's an IT consultant, interested on what software is installed, branding and price points for customers. Do we collect the monthly fees or do we get a commission via SOS? John, typically you would charge your customers and you would just buy from us. So they're typically completely separate relationships. You get one invoice from us and then you deal with all your customers. But there are variations on that. So we can collect for your customers and cut you a check on commission if that's the way you prefer to work. Question here about, do we provide exclusive areas or territories? We do outside of America, so that, Hamish, you're in New Zealand, so we do, but we wouldn't do it on a country basis. We would usually do it on a smaller geographic area. Great, okay. So just a brief tour of the backup industry, if you will. In terms of where we're at an interesting crossroads in backup. For the last 20 or 30 years, tape has been king, and from a standard support, there really hasn't been a consumer standard for backup. Consumers still do not back up, by and large. Our market research shows that although more than 90% of consumers, every time we poll them, say that they know they should back up daily, fewer than 10% actually do back up daily. So you've still got a massive gap between what consumers intend for their behavior to be and what their behavior actually is. In the small business space, it's a different story. The incumbent technology has been tape. Disk has started emerging in the last few years as a serious contender, but tape is still by far the dominant technology platform. Online backup, though, is growing extremely quickly in both the consumer and small business spaces. So if you're looking to sell into either of these two markets, it's an excellent time for you to be getting into online backup. In the enterprise, again, you've always got a backup technology in place. So with both small business and enterprise, the sale that you are doing as a partner, you're replacing another backup technology. With consumers, you're usually selling into a void. So there's usually not a technology in place already. So you've got a technology replacement sale for both small business sales and enterprise. And that's really where online backup is cheaper and provides a better level of service. So we say a better backup at a better price. And so we'll actually look at some numbers on that in a second. Tape sales are collapsing. So tape has shrunk from $2.5 billion to $1.5 billion in just 2 years. So at this rate, tape is going to be completely replaced by disk and cloud. And so there's actually an interesting study by CTO Edge showing that of the 1,000 CIOs and CTOs surveyed, more than 70% have said that they intend to move all or some of their backup load to the cloud in the next few years. So you do have both a rapid decline in tape and disk, an on-premises backup, because that's really what it is, and you've got a pretty explosive amount of growth in cloud backup and online backup. And so there's actually a great quote from one of our partners: if we don't sell our customers a cloud-based backup solution, someone else will, so why not us? And that's really my challenge to all of you in the audience today. Why aren't you selling online backup yet? Because if you don't, somebody will sell. Your customers are going to use online backup. They're going to use Mozy, or they're going to use Carbonite, or they're going to use somebody else. So why aren't you in the business yet? And feel free to share with me the reasons why, the things that you think are holding you back, and I'll see if I can help with some of those things. Certainly That's what we do here, work with partners to figure out what will it take for you to get into the online backup industry and be successful. So just going back to my previous comment about a better backup at a better price, I won't dwell on this, but this came from a case study we did with a recent customer who moved across from a tape solution to online backup powered by us. The cost differential was very significant. So the tape solution cost $6,140, whereas the online backup solution was $1,000 a year. So in terms of the 5-year cost, so in first-year cost, tape was 6 times as expensive as online backup. Over 5 years, tape was still twice as expensive as online backup. So a common question we get on this data is, well, if the revenue is going to be so much lower, won't I make less money as a reseller? And the answer is actually no. Online backup is a very profitable business. So you can look to make 50 to 60% margin when you sell online backup, meaning that on that $1,000 a year in revenue, your take of that would be in the $500 to $600 range. In this case, it was just a straight 50-50 split. So it's a very profitable business, and it yields much lower costs for your customers. So it's a big win for your customers. Better revenue for you and your business, so it's a win for your business as well. It really is better for everybody in the supply chain. The end user gets a tremendously more powerful backup solution, powerful and reliable, at a much lower cost, and you as the reseller can still make a healthy margin by selling online backup to those customers. So let's talk about just some key technology differences, and these are the framework that we use when we compare on-premises hardware backup to online backup. Deployment with on-premises backup's always been a difficult process. It's always been lengthy and time-consuming. With online backup, it's just network software, so you can deploy it out over the network. It's very painless. Coverage has always been a problem with hardware-based backup. Laptops are nearly never protected. Branch offices, distributed user data. Generally, if it's plugged into the network, it was covered. If it wasn't, it wasn't with traditional backup solutions. And when I say was, it's still the vast majority of data in America is being backed up with on-premises hardware-based solutions. When you think about coverage and online backup, though, the coverage problem goes away because every device that's connected to the internet is connected to the backup cloud. So even if you've got laptops moving in and out of the network, it's not a problem. They're always being backed up. Same thing with BlackBerries and iPhones and iPads and mobile devices. So coverage is a massive advantage, or the improvement in coverage is a massive advantage of online backup versus hardware backup. And for the partners on the line, it actually